This is live at local morning radio, coming to you from the studios of Magic Broadcasting on Laird. This is the Kramer Show. This is the Kramer Show. The phone is now open, and the phone operators are standing by. Turn down your radio when you call. Pay attention and be ready to go. 850-233-9988.
Let's do a show! Let's do a show right now. What are we doing?
This is Kramer.
What's going on? It's 7:05. Scott Major. Trying to get a hold of Mr. Major this morning. I don't know what it is with our phones, but lately we've had a problem calling out of our studio. Pray, can you even hear this? Oh. All right. Hopefully Scott will be on the horn here in a minute. He sent us some T-shirts that we've been giving out, and everybody loves them. They say "Love and Kisses," you on the front, and it's got XOXO, and then it's got NewsTalk on the sleeve, and then it's got what's on the other sleeve?
Major Paruas logo.
Yeah, Major Paruas, and then on the back it's
the Storm Help Team. Storm
Help Team. It's a big thing on the back. They're black. They're good. Got them in the mail finally, and have been giving them away. Coming up on Friday, we're going to have a lunch with listeners at Granny Cantrell's. And in order to be there and be in our little section, you have to win on the air. And we gave away our first 2 seats yesterday. And we'll give another 2 seats away today on the show. So hopefully, maybe in the next, we probably should do it now, but we'll wait. We'll do it like in about 30 minutes or so. We'll give you a shot to come to lunch. Any word on Major? Have you tried the cell? Have you tried the office?
I've tried all available lines and gotten voicemails on all. So, I'll keep trying.
All right. Let me see if there's any cases that I want to ask him about, like in the national spotlight right now. Because he is so good at talking about other things that are going on in the news. Actually, you know what? If I had a moment with him to ask him about something that's going on, I would want to get his take on not Jussie Smollett, but the kid that had the MAGA hat on that was standing in front of the Indians, and now he's lawyered up, and they're going to sue the Washington Post for $250 million, and they're going to sue CNN for $250 million. Whew, that's a big story. It's a big amount of money. I think $200 million in punitive damages. Scott Major is with us. Scott, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, pal, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you this morning?
I'm fantastic, man.
Yeah, I was just talking about the kid in Covington. I don't know if you've been keeping up with that story, but he's lawyered up, and they're going after CNN. They're going after the Washington Post for $250 million each, and they're not even done. They got even more people that they're going to sue. Have you been keeping up with that at all?
Yes, it is a tragedy that we are faced with situations where the media has become so politicized that it looks beyond the truth, that the truth almost doesn't matter anymore so long as you get to the end game that you want. And it's just sad that we don't have the infrastructure, the character as a unit to be able to stand up and say, whether you're Democratic or Republican, you have to believe in truth. And it's okay to differ on political positions. It's okay to dislike Obama or dislike Trump or think he's bad or good. But the idea that truth becomes irrelevant, the idea that agendas and getting in the news and finding ways to show that our society is so horrible, even at the risk of lying, in order to, politicize an agenda that says we have to do everything we can to make Trump look bad, is really just unfortunate in today's society. It really is just terrible. And I think that what's going to happen is this polarization, this radical movement of less than the majority of the Democratic side is going to be their undoing. And it's unfortunate because there are a lot of good views and a lot of good values. But the idea that you would not have a problem, with somebody saying horrible things about Jewish people, or the idea that you don't have a problem with people lying about a young kid in order to, secure political gain, and then to lie about the person who was in front of him, banging on the drum, it's just saddening. It's beyond the point of being angering. It's just this really, really a saddening thing, and I wish our society was, more quick to be, aggressive about truth counts, truth matters. You know what I mean?
Really dislike you, actually. Now that I think about it, you're a lawyer, but you're so much better at being a radio host than I am, and it sucks. It really sucks. I'm not even going to ask you anymore to generalize on issues that are going on in the news, because you just made me look bad. I'm just going to go home. I'll let Scott Major finish it out, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to call. I really, really appreciate how you said that, because I was just having the debate a little bit yesterday on Facebook with people about news, and we're going to get to the hurricane stuff. And I'm sorry to take so much time out of your day for this, but I think it's important. Yeah. But we don't see any real, true news anymore. It's all opinion based, and so people are sitting around debating the news and debating stuff on the news, and and then you throw social media into it. It's a very interesting dichotomy. We're in a weird place right now. And no longer are there news with facts coming at us. These are the facts. This is what happened. Here are the facts. That just doesn't happen anymore. And so it has, not only are the politicians polarizing us, but the way that we consume information is also very polarizing, I think.
I think you're right. And I think what's sad about this is that, again, we believed in our news and media institutions as a mechanism for giving us unbiased reports and allowing us to decide what we believe. The idea that now the monopolistic, social media and the news has become, a one-sided, witch hunt, for lack of a better word, it's just really unfortunate. I care less about whether or not you agree or disagree with a political opinion, but to have, 95% of stories be anti-Trump and to not cover false statements, and, Jesse Smollett, you watched how just absurd it was that everybody ran behind him. And do you hear anybody apologizing for
not one mistake? No, not one.
Apologies? Where's the, oh my God, we made a mistake, we're wrong, we won't do that again? It's almost as if, there are no apologies when you lie, as long as you get to where you are. And I wonder what that's teaching our youth. I wonder if our youth is constantly being told that winning is everything and getting your way is everything. And it doesn't matter really if you lie, because there are no consequences. Just imagine the impact that this is having on our youth and on the way in which social media is impacting. It's already difficult for young women and men to go on the net now, because every single time they go on the net, they have the horrible problem of not being skinny enough, tall enough, rich enough, fast enough. And now you have to deal with this situation. It's really, really unfortunate. It really is.
Sooner or later, you and I are just going to have to, we're just going to have to sit here and do an hour or two together about everything outside of the legal, because I really enjoy talking about that stuff with you.
And I do too. It's really good. I think it's important for all of us to understand that in these times of trouble, in these times of strife, we just want some voices of reason. We love discourse. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. There's nothing wrong with having different political opinions. But the idea that Trump has done nothing for African Americans, or has done nothing for the Hispanics, or the idea that the immigration crisis is made up, is so preposterous. It's so offensively preposterous that you can't even justify it with a response. And that's just unfortunate, because everybody knows that it's a problem. Everybody knows that there's less, unemployment among African American people. Everybody knows that Hispanics are in a better place. Everybody knows that there's a crisis on the border. It's just unfortunate that, we've just gone to a position where politicians and other people, they're actually encouraged to lie. They're encouraged to make up false statements because it gets them in the limelight. And if you scream horribles and make up false statements about Trump, you'll get in the news. You'll be the man or the woman for the hour, and maybe that'll help your political career, even if you don't believe it at all. I mean, do you really
Yeah.
think we can get rid of all of our fossil fuels, in the next 10 years? How are we going to get all the food that we're supposedly going to grow? How are we going to get all the food to all the people when we don't have any trucks to get them there? How are we going to? I mean, we could go on and on and on. I mean, there will be no trees left because if there's no fossil fuels, everybody will burn trees to get warmth and heat, and there'll be no trees. I mean, we will die. Imagine in Manhattan or some of these places where they're desiring these kinds of, Green Deal situations. Imagine, how are they going to get their food? When there's no planes and no trains and no automobiles of any kind. I mean, it's just silly. Not to say that you shouldn't have views about climate control, or you shouldn't, about climate change, that you would have views that are different than other people. You're entitled to have that discourse, and I think it's worth talking about CO2 emissions and other types of things. But there's some reason that's associated with that, rather than just this absurd, the more radical you are, the more attention you get. And the less radical you are, the less attention you get. And that's just a bad situation, not only for America, but for our youth, our infrastructure, our family unit.
I'm going to have to resist temptation and steer this back to why Scott's on the air, because you start talking about Ocasio-Cortez, and it makes me my head almost blow up. But Scott Major from the Major Paruas and the Storm Help Team. 844-800-LAWS. That's their phone number. Their website, stormhelpteam.org. Now, Scott has been doing law for on the insurance side for 30 years. In fact, I was just explaining to people that you started out on the other side. You were actually an attorney for one of the big carriers, and then you now are helping people. You can go and have a consultation. It's absolutely free. It's 433 Harrison Avenue. 433 Harrison Avenue. Now, while he's on the air, you can call up and you can ask him questions, hurricane-related legal questions, absolutely free. 850.
Political questions.
Or political questions. Okay, well, then we'll open it up. We'll even broaden it out even a little further. People love talking about it. 850-233-9988. 233-9988. So, who was I talking to the other day? We found out that the Winn-Dixie stores, which have been down, a lot of the Rachel, are there any of the Winn-Dixie stores that are back open fully?
The only one that I know of for sure is the one out here on the beach. And then the one out on 231, I believe, is
partial open.
I'm not positive.
I think they got a couple of aisles open over there.
I haven't gone in there to see. I just seen people in the parking lot. I'm not positive.
But here's the reason I'm bringing this up is because it illustrates something. I think, there's something profound there in that these are, I think, 4 major grocery stores in the area that were hit by the hurricane that are closed, and they will not be open until the fall. That came out in the news yesterday. They're not going to be open until September or October. That's telling when a big corporation like that can't get through the process. And if a big corporation like that can't do it, by God, how can a smaller mom and pop type place do it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I will tell you that I wish I knew Mr. Wynn or Mr. Dixie, because if I knew either one of them, I could have helped them out a lot sooner, and that store would be open, and everybody would be happier, and I'd have my name engraved out front somewhere because people would be getting food.
That's right.
Having said all that, you're right, and it is sort of a real microcosm of what's going on, in this, disaster relief situation in the privatized world of insurance. And it's just unfortunate, but I think that the key for everyone is to suit up and get your claims moving forward. And when you do, you'd be surprised at how much payment can be made when you have the proper documentation and you're aggressive. It's time for the people, and we say this every show, but we keep reminding people, it's time, if you don't have your money and it's not within, your reach, you're not getting a promise that says, I'm going to pay you in the next week or two, to pick up a phone and call an expert and get experts involved. Even experts, even us, it takes time for us to plow through some of the situations that we face. But the concept is we're getting a lot more progress when we know what to tell them and we know what to find out that is bothering them. I mean, we just had a claim come in that was a condominium. It's like a $12 million worth of damages. And they haven't paid any money. And then when you go and look at the documentation, the insurance company has written them and said, listen, we just can't process this claim without these kinds of boards of directors meetings minutes to show that you actually fixed your roof when you said you did and things like that. Documents that aren't that difficult, really aren't that unreasonable to ask for, but because nobody knows what the letter means or the letter got eaten by the dog or something happened, those claims are not being processed, and you call up the insurance company like, well, we've got this, it's marked as closed because nobody responded to us within the 10 days we asked. So sometimes there are letters out there that many of you don't know. We've talked about closed claims, but most importantly, most of you now have gone out there and have had people look at your property, and you have some damages. You just need to find out what's the status. If I don't have my own estimate, I need to have my own estimate. We'll keep repeating that every show. But if I have my own estimate, how does it contrast with the insurance company's estimate? Step one, if the insurance company has an estimate and they're saying there's a certain amount of damages, they should absolutely pay that right now. Regardless of whether they want to pay yours, they have to pay theirs because that's undisputed. If they can't dispute their own estimate, if they think their own estimate has this much in covered damages and they don't pay it, that's those two famous words, bad faith, 624.155. You file your civil remedies notice. So everybody should be getting money from the insurance company if they paid. If there's kind of an estimate saying we're going to pay, they can't wait on that. Secondly, if you have that estimate and then you have your own, then generally speaking, you can say, what's the difference? Listen, my damages, I showed that a complete roof has been destroyed. You showed that a roof needs to be repaired. Please explain to me why my roof estimate is mistaken. Or if you have a good roofer on your side, your roofer will say, they can't fix 33% of the roof because if it's over 25%, they have to replace the entire roof. So prove to me why it's less than 25%. You can start to see some of the dialogues that occur here, but you guys wouldn't know that. You don't know about the 25% rule or the 50% rule or this rule or the proof of loss rule, or the value policy law rule. So a lot of people are struggling around because they've either relied on some estimator who may not have the legal skill, or they haven't done anything because they're still hoping that the insurance company's going to pay, or the insurance company's paid some money, and they're waiting for the rest, and they're afraid they're going to upset the insurance company. Okay. Let me make it clear to listeners. You will not upset the insurance company by demanding they pay you. I assure you, you can write this down in stone. The guy or girl who's handling your claim won't be working for the company the next time you have a claim.
Okay,
you can
right there. I just put it on hold. We'll let you finish next.
Sure. This is Kramer.
I call it fun.
NewsTalk at 101. If it happens in Panama City, Kramer is talking about it. The Kramer Show, 6 to 9 daily on NewsTalk at 101.
Scott Major's with us. 850-233-9988. Sorry to cut you off. We had a break there, but you were right in the middle of it. Yeah, there are many things legally that the average person probably just does not know.
It's just really unfortunate. And again, like I said, it's time just to get experts to help you, and to understand that, you need to get your home fixed or your business fixed. We need to get every restaurant back open. We need to get all stores back open. And a lot of people they don't know what to do. And you and I have talked about this, even savvy businesses. Otherwise, they would be open, Kramer. If these businesses knew what they were doing, they would be open, or they would be almost completed with repairs. So obviously, there's a reason why they're not open, and it's not because they don't have insurance. It's because somebody isn't managing that claim effectively. So, I think the most important thing is for people to be aggressive, to understand that this is your money. You're entitled to it under your contract. Many of you have paid for decades insurance without making a claim. And, you need to move forward and get educated and do those things. And if you don't get a suitable answer from your insurance company, and even if you're doing it on your own, then have them explain it to you. I had somebody write a letter, an insurance company write a letter and say, pursuant to the conditions of the policy, you must provide us with the following information. And then they listed 20 items. I wrote them back and said to them, can you tell me anywhere in the policy, anywhere, where it has these 20 items? And the adjuster said no.
Wow.
No, but we want them. Okay, well, wanting them is great, but saying they're in the policy and they're required to be produced under the policy is not. So, again, sometimes people don't realize what their rights are. They're frustrated because they don't know what to do. And we try to cut through that and get people to the end game. And again, as you and I spoke about, as we progress, as we move forward and start talking about the kind of insurance you could get, when you start getting better insurance too, it makes it less likely. If you get lower deductibles, or if you buy policies that have certain coverage for the items that you need, you buy more ALE, or coverage D, or you get more contents because you realize you have some valuable items. You have a tractor, or you have something that's significant of value to you, art or whatever it is that you want to protect against. You'll make sure you have enough coverage so when something happens, it's much easier for the insurance company to pay when you have more than enough coverage than when you're trying to fight to get every single dollar and you really exceeded the policy limit. And then understanding deductibles. I mean, not everybody has to pay a deductible. Your damages exceed the amount that you've insured by, and you're not grossly underinsured. It's a great opportunity to explain to the insurance company, hey, listen, I already paid the deductible because I have much more damage than I'm insured for it. So in many cases, that deductible can go away. So all of these things you and I have talked about and mentioned come into play, but there's no way anybody would know it. Even sophisticated lawyers don't know all the rules. It's just a very, very complicated set of rules that have come out through these very, very difficult to understand insurance policies. And I think that that's important for people to understand. And all we're trying to do, all you and I have been trying to do, is help people. All we're trying to do is give people a little bit more peace of mind, a little bit more energy, a little bit more power, a little bit more education so that they can feel more comfortable that they're going to get paid whatever they're owed, not anything more, but not anything less.
All right, Scott, we'll get some phones here in a second. 850-233-9988. It's Scott Major from Major Paruas and the Storm Help Team. Free legal advice for another half hour. Stand by.
This is Kramer. NewsTalk at 101. Now live.
Special program live from Uranus.
And local in the morning, right here in Panama City. This is Kramer in the morning on NewsTalk at 101.
734, Scott Major is with us this morning. Scott Major from Major Paruas and the Storm Help Team. Their website, stormhelpteam.org. Scott Major, let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you're up with Scott Major. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Morning.
How you doing?
Scott, I've got a question for you. From your perspective as a prior employee of a major carrier, do these insurance companies actually have the money to pay all of these claims in this area?
Yes, they absolutely do. There's requirements that insurance company have reserves, and not every single insurance company is completely funded, but 95% of them are. And if they're not able to pay, Florida actually has a specific recovery fund that picks up and pays for the rest, so you're guaranteed that you're going to get paid. So the motives of the insurance company are not just about they don't have the money. There may be some malicious companies that have profit motives in sight, but for the lion's share of them, it's merely a failure to properly document on behalf of the insured or to make expeditious claims, and when the insurance companies don't pay, to not pursue them more aggressively. And so, yes, they do have the money.
Okay, can I ask another question?
Sure.
Okay, you said in a previous episode that if you get a vendor in there to do some work for you and you submit that invoice, that the insurance company must pay that invoice. What if the vendor is overcharging?
Okay, here's the key about vendors, and this is what happens when you get assignments of benefits to vendors and then they overcharge. A vendor has to charge a reasonable amount of money. I personally try to get more than one estimate whenever I have any vendor come in. That's not always possible in today's times, but if you believe the vendor is overcharging, obviously, or if the insurance company can prove it, obviously they're not required to pay it. And candidly, I wouldn't want to be any part of an improper or overinflated charge. So if I was aware that a vendor was overcharging, I'd be writing them and saying, I've gotten another estimate and the estimate is half of yours, or you're putting in items that aren't covered, and I would call them on the carpet on that. I just think it's important for you to try to be as honest as you can. You may not know exactly what a roof costs, but if you have two estimates, you generally will. And so it's just paying attention and making sure that you're as accurate as you possibly can be. And then if you find out that somebody's not being truthful, that you call them on it, because no insurance company and no one should have to pay a fabricated, inflated, or false estimate.
Okay. Well, I think it may be hard for us to know for sure if a vendor is overcharging or not.
That's true. And so what you try to do is, if a roofer comes out, you hope that he's licensed and reputable, that you have some references, or a general contractor, that you have some reliability on that person. But to the best that you can get that reliability, the next step is to, when they do an estimate, if the estimate turns out to be inflated or wrong and the insurance company points that out, okay, great. So give me a roof or insurance company that will do the roof for the price you're claiming. If you got the name of a great roofer, I'd be more than happy to use them. But don't tell me that my roof is only worth $15,000 when I have an estimate for $30,000 and I can't find another roofer out there who will do it for $15,000. So what you try to do is, when you get claims that somebody has overcharged, if you don't already have a second estimate, which, like I said, I always encourage, if you don't already have that, then you ask the insurance company, great, you think it's $15,000, then please give me the names of all the roofers who will fix the property for $15,000, and we're happy to go use one of them. I just want my roof fixed. I'm not trying to get more money from the insurance company unless that money is required to fix that roof. So if you see that technique, and if you have any problems with that, just offline, dial the 844-800-LAWS number and ask any one of the team members, or ask for me, and if you have a particular question that goes beyond the scope of this.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. You're the best.
I hope it helped. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Has back to his original question, has an insurance company ever gone out of business after a storm? I mean, is that something that's ever happened before?
Yes. We actually have a Florida Insurance Guarantee Association called FIGA, F-I-G-A, that comes into play whenever an insurance company goes out. Actually, part of your insurance premiums, a little portion of that, goes into this fund the insurance companies pay for. And it happens, like after Wilma, there was a lot of, in Katrina, there was a bunch of storms, if you recall, in 04, 05, and insurance companies went out. And it's not the end of the world, in the sense that you're not going to not get paid. You're going to get paid. There's a few more complications, but there are funds available to pay. And so, yes, if there was an insurance company, Kramer, that over-insured in a particular area, like if we find out that one of the insurance companies, had most of their portfolio in Panama City or in Mexico Beach, you might see some insurance companies go out of business. But it's just not a problem right now from the standpoint of, I believe there are going to be companies going out of business, but I'm not troubled by the fact that people are still going to get paid their money so long as they have a valid claim. And that, again, ties in with you and I speaking. The sooner you make a claim, the sooner you get paid and don't have to face the insurance companies that are, that might go out of business and might delay the payment of your claim. So hurry up and get on with getting your claim proved as quickly as possible so you can avoid that potential problem.
Yeah. And two, back to what you were saying, and his question was, is it, how do I know if I'm being overcharged? Well, that's something that, that's going to be on the homeowner, on the property owner. That's something that you're going to have to wind up doing. I find it really interesting. I have I rent a home, and it's taken a while, but I finally conveyed the right way. One reason, because he came over and actually did see the homeowner. He lives in Jacksonville, but he came over and saw and could put eyes on what I'd been telling him on the phone. So now, he has been sending over people to look at the fence, people to look at the backyard, the pool, all this stuff. And I see the people that come out and how long they spend looking at things, looking at the windows. And I don't necessarily know the amount of money that they're telling him, but I have conversations on the regular with him about the window company and who he chose to do it. And he did it the right way. I mean, I don't know if he's doing this for the insurance or if he's actually going to pay for it out of pocket, but he is getting quotes. He's coming around getting estimates, and there's a lot of people that are coming by. We think that there are not enough people around here doing work, there are plenty of people around here that can actually get to you and do work. I wanted to point that out. There's no lack of people that are here to make you whole with fences, the roof, etc.
I agree. And I think that, yes, there are some challenges, but every vendor that you use, you need to ask that vendor, give me the names of 2 or 3 people that you personally believe, you've done work for that would attest to your credibility. And call those people and ask them 2 questions. What'd you like about what this person did? What'd you hate about what they did? And when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to find out exactly what it is that, that vendor's done and what kind of reputation they have. And I think if you do that, you're giving yourself a better chance of getting a quality vendor. I mean, isn't that what you want to do? So my feeling about the matter is when you go and get multiple estimates, you're probably going to get a good understanding of what, the actual price is. But if you haven't, just make sure you ask the insurance company if they come back with a number that's $15,000 instead of $30,000. Dear insurance company, great talking to you. Glad you feel like it's $15,000. Would greatly appreciate give us the name and addresses of every roofer who you believe can do the work that you've established for $15,000. Love and kisses you. And if you do the work, I'll actually send you a T-shirt. And then you're golden. Because that, to me, is what will put them over the edge. Every insurance company will immediately pay if they know a T-shirt comes with it.
But no, I think that's interesting. So I always wonder sometimes when you put that scenario out there, you say, hey, in that particular case, you say you got estimates. They said 30. The insurance company says, well, it's probably going to be more like 15. If you write them a letter and say, hey, thanks for that, appreciate it, but just give me the name of the people that'll do it for $15,000, and we'll get it done. I just wonder what the look on their face on the other end when they read that email is like.
It's not only awesome, but I take depositions of these people, and I videotape them, and I go, look at the camera, and I want you to tell ladies and gentlemen of the jury, all the vendors, list them for me, all the vendors that are going to do that roof for $15,000. And they look like a deer in the headlights, and they either say none or I don't know. But you said that's what the reasonable price is. And then out in the hallway, they're writing the check for $30. So all I'm telling you is that, you just have to use common sense. But if somebody gives you a different number, no panic. You just simply say, prove it to me. You just simply say, hey, that's what I need from you. And if you can show me how it's reasonable, then I'm all for it. Great. Listen, when Jeff Bezos and all the rich people start paying 80% taxes and AOC and all these people are contributing all the money, then I'll start believing that their 80% tax plan is great. I'm all for it. If you're telling me that every rich person in the world, all these billionaires and zillionaires, and everybody's going to step up to the plate and gladly pay, and AOC and all of her constituents are going to gladly pony up 80% of their income because they think it's for the social good, hey, listen, I'm all ears then. I'll be listening with a little better understanding when you tell me that happens. But because it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. People should not be upset about the AOCs and the other people because they're helping the Republican Party. Radical views that are stupid help us because nobody in the end is going to pony up. It's all great and wonderful to make this nonsensical, stupid talk. When you don't have to go through with it, you can just say it because it sounds good. Back to Hurricane Land. I'm going to jump hip deep into that for a moment.
You get excited about it like I do too, and really, I mean, I think writing the insurance company and holding their feet to the fire like that is great advice. And I also think it's great advice when you say to write often, because and instead of calling, because you have a record of writing it. That's something that Scott preaches often, and I think it's really important to say more than once or twice that. If this goes as far as some of these cases have been going, then all you got to do is pull up your sent folder and say, look, on Monday at 1 p.m. I sent you this. You didn't respond back. And then on Tuesday, I sent you another email, this time a little bit earlier at 9 a.m. You didn't respond. You didn't respond. That's really helpful, correct?
Absolutely. And think about it. If you were a supervisor at a store, and there was a complaint by one person versus 10 documented complaints, you'd probably have a different opinion. If one teacher at school said your kid was acting up versus 10 teachers at school, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that safety in numbers works. And if you go to a supervisor of that desk level adjuster because they're not responding, and you say, listen, I'm terribly sorry to bother you, manager. I know you got a lot to do, but I've written 7 letters trying to get payment, and I've gotten no response, or they've told me they're going to pay me and I'm not going to pay you, and here's the letters. You'd be surprised at how those supervisors will jump to it because now they have exposure to those 2 bad words, bad faith, and they have exposure to triple damages and attorney fees and other types of sanctions. So it's so important to make a track record, and it just helps you. And it would help you if you were on the other side and somebody made a complaint to you if they had documented evidence. That's the whole key to this, is to create a nice trail. You've been working on this for 4 months. Say you're entitled to get your money, show what you've done, all the heartache and headache on a piece of paper or in an email so that you can go to somebody above them and try to find out what seems to be the problem. Why aren't you paying me? I'm sure there's a good reason. Tell me what that is.
Let me ask you, so a very basic question, but I'm doing it for the audience's sake. Let's say somebody that's listening this morning is hearing you, and they're going, this is a guy that I need on my side. This is a guy who gets it. And I'm a little intimidated by the process, but I feel like I need to call him. What happens when a listener calls you for the first time? They say, here's what's going on with me. Then what?
What happens is, it's very simple. We have a simple questionnaire that asks you some fundamental questions that we need in order to reach out to the adjuster on your behalf and to be able to say to the adjuster, what's going on? What are you delaying for? Give me a reason why you're not paying this estimate that I have in my hand. We basically just have the baton pass. You give us the baton, you go on with your life, and then I try to get you money. You don't have to worry about it anymore. If there another engineer or somebody else has to go out there, we send them out there. The whole concept is to try to get an expert to take care of it so you don't have to worry about it and you can concentrate on getting your life back, knowing that if there's any chance to get money, any reasonable chance, we're going to get every dollar of that. And I think it should be actually, ironically, empowering for people and not intimidating, because you're going to get somebody who's going to take over and do exactly what you want. They're going to take over and they're going to make your life easier and better. And if there's a chance to get money, you're going to get it. And if there's not, then you're going to get good education. Maybe somebody told you have coverage for something and you really don't. Okay, I'd like to know that too. I don't want to have false promises. Some adjuster or some friend came and said I had $80,000 worth of damage, but I don't realize that $40,000 of it's not covered. I didn't buy insurance for that. Sure would like to know that.
So people can also go out for a free consultation. They can actually give you a call, or they can go to 433 Harrison. Let's take a break.
Free.
And it's free, absolutely free. You sit down, you talk with someone right then and there. 850-233-9988. We'll be right back with Scott Major. Stand by.
More Kramer coming up.
Not only ugly, he's crazy too.
News Talk at 101.
Obviously, there's been a Queen theme lately on this show with Rachel Rochelle, the producer woman, lady. In a Queen mood lately, Rachel?
I felt like the song was very fitting for the segment today. Another one bites the dust.
Scott Major's with us. Scott Major from Major Paruas and the Storm Help Team. You can go to stormhelpteam.org. The phone number 844-800-LAWS. 844-800-LAWS. A lot of great information this morning. And by the way, again, the initial consultation is totally free. What should somebody have if they're planning on going to 433 Harrison? Should they have their policy with them, or what do you need?
Best things for me to have are any estimates you have, reports, anything from your general contractor, public adjuster, roofer, plumber, whoever, any pictures, anything you sent to the insurance company or received from the insurance company, any recitation of promises that have been made, like if they said we're going to send somebody out for an inspection or anything like that, or if they promise to pay you, any information like that, and that would be the most helpful, and a copy of your insurance policy.
Yeah. I mean, and two, there's lots of businesses say that all the time. A lot of businesses around here that are hurting. It really is. It really does. It really puts, I mean, the Winn-Dixie story, that illustrates this whole point poignantly in that, I mean, gosh, it's 5 months after these stores are just sitting there. You drive by them and they have, you know, some, like the one on 23rd has a little pharmacy out there. They got a little makeshift pharmacy. The story in the paper yesterday said they interviewed someone at the Dollar General, which is right next to the Winn-Dixie. And she goes, since that store is not open, it is, she goes, look around. You know, we have 5 times the normal customers in here. So it's causing a shift in the way that people are, you know, shopping. They're going over there and they're going to other stores, and they're not going to open until the fall, which is really mind blowing. You would think that a corporation like that would have people that are on it, that are getting things done quicker, but that's just not the case, and that's not good news if you don't have a good attorney who is smart like Scott.
There's just no doubt about it that you think these stores want to be closed. Of course not. I mean, of course they don't want to be closed. Why are they closed? They're closed because of one or two reasons. One, they don't have insurance, or two, they're not managing their claim properly. It's 4 months. What's the problem? So, to me, it's just a real tragedy. I mean, I wish that I had even a bigger voice, because repairing your town is just as important as repairing your home. We need our lives back, but we also need to feel psychologically safe and secure in knowing that our town is regrowing and is reborn and will again live at the same or a higher level. And every delay hurts everyone.
Call Scott, 844-800-LAWS. Fantastic hour, Scott. Thank you, bud.
Hey, thanks so much for all you do, and have a wonderful day.
Talk to you soon. There he is, Scott Major from Major Paruas in the Storm Help Team.
More of the Kramer Show next. News Talk at 101.
It's super duper.